Okay, I was going to do a video today about some more coins, but I thought before I do, it's only right if I talk about what my portfolio of coins are and what I'm holding, so you will have an idea of what my biases are and what my potential vested interests are. But rather than just do a video about the coins that I'm invested in, I'm going to talk about the percentage of those coins I hold, and I'm going to talk about the good and the bad of those coins. If any of these coins are perfect, I'll be all in and laughing all the way to the bank, but none of them are perfect, so I think it's good to talk about the bad as well as the good. So, number one, Bitcoin. 60% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. Yeah, the bad about Bitcoin is it is never going to be a medium of exchange, not the core protocol anyway. 10-minute confirmations, higher fees, definitely not going to be a medium of exchange. The good about Bitcoin is that it's proven itself to be a store of value. You know, you can't go against the market. 8 years strong, secure protocol, and it's proven itself to be a store of value. So yeah, you can't bet against Bitcoin. Everything else versus Bitcoin. You know, if you're invested in other coins, you're really placing a bet, taking a chance that that's going to outgrow Bitcoin. And over the course of time, Bitcoin has basically dominated all comers. So 60% of my portfolio is in Bitcoin. My number two coin is Ethereum. 10% of what I hold is in Ethereum. The bad about Ethereum, I'm not sold on Ethereum at all. To be honest, I'm not sold. I like products that work, and every time I've tried to use something with Ethereum, it's let me down. So I tried to download the wallet. I think it was, I can't remember which one it was, Mist or whatever. It took literally 4 weeks to sync. No, listen, 4 weeks. And this was, all right, so this was about a year ago or maybe even longer, 18 months ago. What? What's going on? And so that just like made me think, look, they just need to come up with a product that works. And then my next experience with Ethereum, well, two other experiences. One was the DAO. I invested in the DAO, and obviously I don't need to tell you what happened there. You can go and do your research. That blew up. But the good thing was that I got my coins back and I left those in Ethereum. The third thing was I wanted to try out the Akasha. So that was being mooted as a Facebook killer and a new social media site based on Ethereum. So I thought, okay, I actually tried out. I think it was the beta or the alpha, I don't know. Just wasn't convinced. You know, I went on it once and I haven't been on it again. And then when I saw that you were actually charged some gas in order to post, it just looked like a non-starter to me. So, you know, those were the negatives about Ethereum. The positives about Ethereum, it's a fucking juggernaut. And I don't use a bad language often, but it's a juggernaut. You cannot ignore the market. You cannot ignore just how much weight this particular platform has. And I do think that platforms are the future of this technology. And Ethereum is the leading one. And if they deliver what they say, look, to me, talk is cheap. I'm not one for believing what anyone tells me. Show me. But if they deliver what they say they're going to deliver, then it could be an awesome platform. So it just makes sense to have some Ethereum, whether you are a wholehearted believer or not. And there are a lot of believers of Ethereum. I mean, I went to an Ethereum meetup in London. I've been to a couple, and there's a lot of people that that live and die and breathe that. So the community is strong. and you can't go against the market. And so I got in not really early, but I got in early enough to yeah, be benefiting from that. So number 2 is Ethereum. Number 3, right, this is a recent one that I've added to my portfolio as in the last week or so, with 10% is EOS. This is pure gut instinct, guys. Yeah, I'm just like the bad about EOS. The bad thing about EOS is, one, the ICO stinks to high heaven. I don't like this ICO whatsoever. It's like a crapshoot. You know, I like to play poker, but this is just, you know, just too much hard work in terms of trying to work out what's the optimum time to invest. I don't know whether now's the optimum time. My gut says get some EOS. I bought some EOS. The good about EOS, again, it's another platform on top of which apps are going to be built. The CTO, Dan Lerma, has a solid reputation for delivering tech. They've got a lot of money behind them. So yeah, my gut says buy some EOS. So I bought some EOS, and that's now 10% of my portfolio. Number 4, Bitcoin Cash. Look, I'm just holding Bitcoin Cash because I don't want to have to try and guess the politics. If it's going to surpass Bitcoin, then I'm going to have as a relatively equal amount of Bitcoin Cash as I got with Bitcoin. So I'm just holding it. I don't really have any solid opinions on Bitcoin Cash. So what's that? So what's 10%? I think it's like 6% in Bitcoin Cash. So that's 60% Bitcoin, 10% Ethereum, 10% EOS, 6% Bitcoin Cash. What's that, like 86%, 14% left. So so yeah, I think I've got some waves, about 3% waves. I don't even know why I've got 3% waves, but I have about 3% Litecoin. I think I've got about 1% Dash. And then I've got some random coins just to scratch some itches that I've got to make sure that I'm holding some coins that seem interesting. I think I've got like Zencash and Z Classic and Counterparty and all kinds of randomness. So that makes up my portfolio. I haven't included Steem in that portfolio, mainly because obviously people can work out, see how much Steem I've got and work it out. So I haven't included Steem. And secondly, I actually just enjoy Steem. I don't really see Steem as crypto anymore. It's just something which I blog on. It's fun, can make some money. And yeah, I don't really look at it as one of my cryptos. I'm not looking to sell anytime soon. I'm not looking for profits in that way. But yeah, just to blog and enjoy the platform. Anyway, so that's my portfolio. So whenever I talk about anything, bear that in mind. Those are my biases. I'm out.